we're going to get the green flag coming up as they finish up their...
Yep.
There we go. We
All
are.
right. So you're going to see that Elva go toe-to-toe.
I think we have gone checker. I think we just had a too tight of a camera angle. No big deal.
Oh, there we go.
We are definitely moving here in Pittsburgh. Schenley Park, Pittsburgh, PA, as we do the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, and the vintage sports racers, Formula Racers, and Formula Fords start tearing up the streets.
Yep. So you've got Joey out there in front and just ahead of Michael Burton in a Formula Ford. So two completely different type of cars racing out there, but they both got on that. That was a really good start for both of them. Here it is,
Wait
Panther Hollow. Oh, look at that tiny little Elva just
Elva
screaming
is
in there.
the beans to it.
Ah, very nice. I don't even think he lifted the foot off the gas going up that hill.
Nope, not real big motors on these, but these are suspensions and tires and everything designed 100% to go around the race course. You and I both grew up on the Speed Racer cartoon, and I want to tell you, that Elva is giving me some Racer X vibes. It's making me very excited here.
Absolutely. It was completely, the Racer X, the car was inspired by that one, actually. And you even see another one of those sports racers in the back, and here comes a whole series of those Formula Vs. We talked about Volkswagen, one of the premier sponsors of this event, and these are actually all Volkswagen. The Formula Vs are Volkswagen air-cooled 1200s powering those cars. Yeah. Oh, using all of that track in that Elva.
Look at them slide around. These people are not saving their tires. They are doing their best to get around this track as quickly as possible, even though, as the lawyers will remind us, we are 7/10 racing here in Schenley Park today.
Yes.
Because racers are very good at keeping control and not letting their egos get in the way and having them go just a little bit faster.
Just a little bit.
That's right.
Okay. Lovely overhead shot as we show the switchbacks. They're coming down through here. There goes your race leader. That's Joey Boyad. He's out of Swickley, Pennsylvania,
PA,
of course. Home of the Swickley Porsches that we saw. All right.
Michael Burton behind them from Cleveland Lights, Ohio, in his 82 Ford Van Diemen.
Now, Mike Lawrence is in a Formula V that we just talked about. It's a 75 Cadwell, but he's out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but he just got overtaken by Leo in a 65 Cooper T75.
That's going to be another Formula car that most people have not seen very often unless you hang out at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, because I don't think I've ever seen one of those in my SCCA and other vintage travels.
I have, but they used to see, there would be hundreds and hundreds of fields of these Formula Vs. There'd be 100 of them at a time, and they're all working with about 50 horsepower, and the aerodynamics become very important. There's a lot of drafting going on. Look at this.
Joey Bojalid is really taking it to the rest of the field
there.
Yes,
keeping that foot as he's going around that corner. Look at that suspension working.
There's a lot of aero in a lot of these cars, obviously.
Yes, well, some of them. Other ones,
that's true.
Formula V, you're not allowed to have any active aero. So he's coming into that corner. That's the Westinghouse right there as he pulls away every bit of that racetrack, even a little power on oversteer. Fun to watch. But Michael is not letting him get away. Of course, we've been using the Burton name a lot.
That can't be the same Burton, can it?
It can be many.
That's true. Who knows?
You've got one that came all the way from Texas to race with a family. So this is just fantastic. You know, if you've got someone right now and you're a small person in your life, a niece or a nephew or something like that, get them involved in racing, because that will ensure they will never have money to use drugs. They'll be broke forever. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So there we go. We've got Joey Ballard coming through the corners in here, but just a handful of seconds behind him is Michael Burton. I believe it is 1.5 seconds. He's running him down in that Formula Ford. It's a 82 Van Diemen chassis, powered by the Kent motors. They're coming in. These are overhead shot as we're coming down through the switchbacks, and they're getting themselves set up for another lap. We're coming into this beautiful weather. It has just been gorgeous all weekend. We haven't dealt with a lot of rain. The heat is actually under control, especially for July. And we couldn't be happier about that. Beautiful shot of the trees right there. We were talking earlier about tire temperatures as well as track temperature, and you have to manage that for the entire race. And if you notice, even in your leader's car, these are very narrow tires, and you get a lot of sidewall flex. So as that tire tends to get hotter, even a racing tire, the car's going to move a little more than it does in the first couple of laps on there. So driver, you really have to be careful and manage that.
Thank you, Mental. We're looking again at the Panther Hollow Bridge, right in the shadow of the University of Pittsburgh. We saw a break about the University of Pittsburgh and the Carnegie Mellon SAE teams. That's right where this park is, for those of you who have never been to Pittsburgh. Right in the university area where lots of smart people with big brains who are someday going to become engineers and make a lot more money than both of us. But hey, we're here having a good time watching some racing.
It's not hard to make more money than us. There we go. And they're coming into this Westinghouse turn again. That is just, that is a perfect execution. Really just letting that rear end catch up to the rest of the car.
Yeah.
And he is starting to really put some distance, increasing that lead now to 2.5 seconds over that 82 Ford behind him. 22 years older than that Formula Ford that is chasing him.
Well, that's great. The racers here might not be bumper to bumper like they were in past, but they are, because we mentioned that this is multiple groups racing together. So you may not have someone right on your bumper pushing you, but you're pushing yourself because, A, you're having a really good time. But all of these are tracked by electronics, so they know their lap times. They may not know them in the car, but they're going to be able to read their lap times and know how good or bad they were doing while they were out here. So,
well, we just watched AJ after he won that last race. He talked about in the interview with Ted Sawyer, his lap timer wasn't working, so he just had to know.
Lap timers. Well, this may be a 1960s car, but I guess you can get some 2020 electronics in it, I guess.
Yeah, you got an iPhone, right?
It's true. It's true. Yeah, great racing all day here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in Schenley Park at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. If you're watching the race and you're having a good time, why don't you tweet about it or Instagram about it? Throw that hashtag up, PVGP, so that we can see what you're talking about. Thank you very much. And if you're watching this on any kind of taped broadcast later in the year or wherever, why don't you throw a comment into the bar there on the bottom of the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And if you're watching it and it's wintertime and you wish you were at the racetrack, why not go ahead and start making plans to come see this outstanding event next year.
Of course, if you're on that YouTube, don't forget to smash the subscribe button.
Absolutely.
Like we always say, hit the like and subscribe button on that YouTube channel, and we'll continue to bring you good content because we have a lot of interviews. We have a lot of tape.
Absolutely. There's
things that
so
we
much
did.
going on here.
The car show was amazing yesterday. If you hadn't had a chance to check that out, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube page and you can check it out later.
Well, there were 18 separate car clubs out here yesterday, and we got to talk with several of them. Steel City Car Club, Twisted Impressions.
Yeah, they were great.
What a great... I'm sorry, Steel City Society. That's the one on there. And, of course, you've got all your mark-specific clubs, Western PA Triumphant, the Volkswagen, the BMW Car Club of America had an entire hill. That was just
the motorcycles were gorgeous also. We had one of the motorcycle groups here.
Yes, all the old British bikes, that sort of thing. And if that's the sort of vehicle, the multifaceted auto enthusiasm you like, Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix is for you.
Hey, and if you're not a multifaceted enthusiast, what a great event for you to watch to really expand your horizons, because the machinery here is amazing, and it's from all the continents, or at least all the continents that made cars, I guess. But we've seen American, we've seen British, lots of British as we celebrate the 100 years of MG. No MGs in this race, though, because we're talking about the sports racers, the formulas, and the Formula Fords. So,
but we actually even saw a car from Canada. One of the
there you go. I guess technically a Formula Ford is at least powered by an American motor, but made in Britain. You know what? It's all great here at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. We don't care what country you're from, as long as, just like Joey Bojalad, your Elva is absolutely tearing it up here in the streets.
He has increased that lead to 4.5 seconds.
Look at the perfect lines coming through there. Number 70 white, and 1960 Elva Mark 6.
Mark 6. It's
Mark
a 1500, 1500
yeah.
motor on that. Basically, he is sitting flat on the ground. And this shows a lot. This is another one of the great things about vintage racing is that you really do become part of the car. You bond with this vehicle. You're working on it. You spend a lot of time in it. You're not seeing the raw grip that you see out of a modern race car. You're seeing these cars move and slide, like these two formulas that are coming down through here right now, or that's a Formula, Lotus. And right behind is the local Lotus Super 7. But notice how these cars are moving, and so they are coming into these corners with not 100% traction, but those drivers absolutely know how to control it. There's your race leader, and he's catching some of those back markers already as we come back around.
Beautiful day here in the park. If you haven't had a chance to get to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix in person, please try it out. We're trying to find out who that is in number 126 there.
126 is Kelsey Patterson, and they are that is a 63 Lotus 7.
Absolutely. And 577, the little red one in front of it, was a 59 Lotus FJ. Both of them, Spencer and Kelsey, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Lots of local racers here, but some people are trailing in from pretty far away, including Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, and obviously Pennsylvania, all represented from our drivers today. Looks like some traffic coming up as our leader, Joey Bojala.
Well, he's going through the Pattersons right now. Yep. Yeah, there's both. Or he's safely around both the Pattersons, and they're going to continue their race.
And that's a great sign of multi-class racing, because they all know that Joey is faster, because not because he's a better driver, because they're all driving great, but because his car is a faster car. We don't have time to do them all separately, so sometimes we got to lump them together here at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix.
If you're also watching this and you're wondering about bringing out the family, this is a great family event. Load up the kids, bring the spouse, bring your parents. Come on out. It's a wonderful time, even if they're not into racing. We're going to cut away to a commercial, but we want you to stay with us right now because the racing's going to continue. They're going to do a split screen. Welcome back. Check it out. There he is, Joey Bajad in his Elva Mark 6.
We are halfway through the Vintage Sports Racer, Formula Racers, and Formula Fords race here in Schenley Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. None of the leads have changed, but let me tell you, during the commercials, some of the best things comes out of Mental's mouth. Mental, why don't you tell us what you know about an Elva Mark 6?
Of course, of the Elva Mark 6, I live in Las Vegas, and of the many great things about Las Vegas, we have a lovely history with Elvis. In fact, the Elvis and Ann Margaret Classic, Viva Las Vegas, where Elvis is a race car driver, and he has to take a job as a waiter to get a new engine for his Elva Mark 6. So, Bright Light City going to set my soul on fire. And right now, Joey is setting this course on fire. He is a lap over everyone.
That's right.
In that Elva Mark 6.
But there's still some wonderful Formula machinery behind him. In second place, Michael Burton from Cleveland, Ohio, in his 82 Formula Ford. After that, Leo Basile in the first. That's first of Formula V, right?
It's a 65 Cooper.
Yep. And then a whole slew of Vs, as we have Mike Lawrence from Caldwell, North Carolina, and then a Lotus. A Mike Kennedy from Kissimmee, Florida, in his 62 Lotus 23, a beautiful car.
Absolutely beautiful. David Allison has got that 72 Merlin Formula Ford. That is a fun car to watch go around this track. Right behind him is Robert Albert in an 81 Gemini, also a Formula Ford. He's from Irwin, Pennsylvania.
Keith Lawrence, Sean Lawrence, probably brothers from Cannonsburg, PA, both Formula Vs, bringing it out. We got a Zink and a Caldwell, and Michael Tapacoli in his 1969 Aerodynamics.
Yes.
Formula V.
Now we're starting to see some fenders. You start getting out of the top 10. You've got Jeff Tapacoli in a 62 Lotus Super 7.
Maybe another brother pair.
Absolutely. Lots of families in this. This is one of the reasons you need to come out here and check this race out. All right, so we've got David Kissinger in an 82 Legend Formula Ford.
And then we have, after that, Laura Licht. Laura Licht is in a Formula V, and we're actually going to be talking to Laura Licht in a few minutes. We have an interview from her.
Oh, that's
from
fantastic.
The field yesterday. So
there's your race leader coming through. It looks like he's going to try and put a second lap on everybody. He's working his way through a lot of those Formula Vs right now. A lot of good, clean racing in those cars, though. But as you get this overhead shot and you watch those cars come down the switchbacks, if you're watching this on a screen, pay attention to what that Elva is doing, because you'll see the same thing in the Formula cars. It won't be as obvious without the fenders. But those are narrow tires. And as they're coming into the corners, they're not getting 100% grip. And just watch the masterful way that they will slide these cars ever so slightly through those corners and then catch them right as they get grip. That's a great version of it right there. He takes that car right to the outside and accelerates away.
Especially with the elevation change in the crowned roads here in the Schenley Park, because again, this is road racing. These are regular roads with manhole covers and sewer grates and potholes and changes in the pavement surface. This is a winter city. It snows here, it ices here, and that surface is not always perfect.
No, and after this race, we're going to get a chance to talk to Chris Abbott and Chrissy Ventura about those elevation changes and what that means to the race cars as they're coming through this.
17 different elevation changes here in Schenley Park.
22 turns. This is just a great way of course. This is actually how racing used to be when a lot of these cars were in their prime. They would just block off city streets, set up some hay bales, and off we would go. And if you have an opportunity to read our one of our honorary guests here, Bert Levy's book, The Last Open Road, it tells stories of that era in racing.
Yes,
so
these are novels, so they are
novels.
Fictional stories, like many of the mental stories, except for that one about Elvis. That one was
historical fiction.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Right, true, absolutely.
There's some truth in it.
So we're looking at one of those elevation changes as we get down here. This is which turn is this?
This is turn 13, right
you.
As they kind of crest the hill.
Right behind German Hill. That's German Hill right up the hill there where the Germans cars, the Mercedes and all of those cars were showing yesterday.
Absolutely. Look at that. There's a nice little power slide as he's coming into turn 15. Nice and collected around that corner using all of it, and you can really see the crown changes as it affects that Elva.
Yeah, I love the fenders on that thing just wrapping around those tires to stay slicing through the air. Lots, like I said, maybe not in a race like today, on a street race, a little bit slower, tighter course, but man, that thing was made to get really fast on some of those ovals back in the day.
Yeah, a lot of fun with that one. So I think we might be swapping to an interview right now. So we're going to, all right, so yeah, we'll do that. They're going to get it all set up in about another minute. We're going to keep watching Joey just absolutely masterclass this car through the course. There's some of the great volunteers that are keeping this race go.
Yeah. Doesn't have to throw the blue flag now because it is an open track for Joey Balajad.
And he's turning some very fast lap times. In fact,
2:13, yeah, it's great time.
That's right up there with the lap record that stood right up until the first race of today. So he is flirting with some serious speed as they're coming through this one.
No wonder he's walking away from some of those Formula Vs and Formula Fords.
Oh, yes.
But they still are pretty. Here comes some of those formulas now. That's the Lotus.
That is, those are that's the folks that we were watching earlier, the Pattersons. That's Kelsey and Spencer. So he's coming through.
Oh, and Joey is catching up. He's going to lap more slower cars. Again, not slower because these aren't any good, but slower because they are in different classes. But we're going to go out to the interview right now, but stay with us as we continue to show the racing picture in picture.
Lauren Light drives this purple Formula V. This is a car that's been around for a while. This is a 1967, is it?
67, yeah, 1967. Autodynamics.
So this is an early Formula V.
Yeah. No, it's, it's one of the early ones. I know they started, early 60s or so, especially Autodynamics.
So we don't get many vintage Vs. I think you were second in class last year, but there weren't very many Vs in your group.
No, yeah, I lucked out there. That's why I went second. But no, that's news to me, being second. But
why do you think there are not more Formula vintage Vs racing with them?
I don't know, because it's such a fun thing to drive. And this is the perfect track, might I say, for it. Just the hills and the tight corners and everything.
So a moment ago, when we walked past you the first time and didn't talk to you, you had a group of mechanics that were working on your car, and I thought at the time, this is the spirit of vintage racing and the spirit of Schenley Park, I think.
It really is. I mean, I feel like it's a rite of passage now that I've finally been able to say I put a motor in the week of the Schenley Vintage. With the help of, the Lawrences, of course, the Tablesides, they've helped tremendously. But it's finally back up and running for now.
New motor for this weekend?
No, just a rebuild. So it blew last month, and now it's back ready to go.
What can we do to get more women to come out and race? We only have a few each year, and we've been doing this for 41 years.
I know, yeah. No, it is sad to see, but I will say, just talking to, I went to the Forbes Avenue last year, and just talking to some of the girls that are just walking by, I met a girl who said, I can't do that because I'm a girl, and that really broke my heart. I'm like, but just seeing the women that do race and just, broadcasting that and just knowing that, just because you're a girl you can race.
So then I have to ask you, how did you get into racing?
My dad raced. He raced here in 1956 Lotus 11. I grew up here every single summer. This was the highlight of the year. Forget Christmas, forget birthdays. The Vintage Grand Prix was the time of the year.
And it's still the highlight of the year.
It really is. It's like Christmas. Christmas in July.
Lauren Light in the Purple Auto Dynamics Formula V. We'll be watching you on track.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we got to see her racing. There she is again, right there. Fresh rebuild on that car, good clean lines, and that is exactly what we're talking about. That is just it's just the most essential form of an automobile.
Yeah.
And set up to racing. And she's doing a great job with it. Those are great clean lines. She is never going to want to touch those brakes because she's only got about 60 horsepower even with a fresh rebuild.
Yeah, great interview from Ted Sawyer, voice of the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, of Laura Licht, car number 257, Moon Township, PA. It's a 1967 Auto Dynamics Formula V. So many different chassis manufacturers made those Formula Vs because you could make it to the spec and then sell it to someone, and they would put their own motor and their own transmission in it, but always those air-cooled 1200cc Volkswagens.
Absolutely. You even saw a lot of folks building them themselves back in the day, and just following the plans and welding them up. There's still a great community behind that, and they even still race them. I think though they may have let the modern ones punch out to 1400 cc's.
Yep. That's the problem with some of these vintage racers. You start to run out of the motors. That's why Laura Licht just had to rebuild hers instead of a new one. Ted said, "Oh, you got a new motor?" And she said, "I rebuilt the one I already had." Yes.
Oh, we've all been there. All right, there's your race leader again. He is now a good 3 laps up on the competitors.
No, 1 lap. One lap on Michael Burton.
See. No, there you go. Yes, 1 lap on Michael Burton. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We could also take this moment to say, why don't you click that button and donate to Autism Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix charities, collecting money and helping the greater Pittsburgh area for 40 plus years, right?
Absolutely,
what,
yeah.
Years?
Just a great social awareness. It's all about dignity and helping people and educating other folks on how to really just help navigate the world.
Yeah, we have a yellow flag on the field.
Oh, we do. It looks like we've had some kind of an incident. There is a standing yellow. Now, that doesn't mean the race is going to end. What that does mean is they're not going to be able to pass. So they're going to start stacking up. I don't know if they'll have the pace car out.
Could be a chipmunk on the field or anything. We're not really sure what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're working on that right now, but you've still got Joey in that 60 Elva in the lead, Michael Burton with the Van Diemen Formula Ford, Lawrence with his Codwell Formula V, the Lotus, the Gemini, David Kissinger in his Formula Ford, and another Codwell from Sean. Keith right behind him in that Zinc. Those are both Formula Vs. Tapicoli is in another Formula V, and then Jeff Tapicoli in a Lotus Super 7.
Yeah, do you think if your brother has a Formula V and you have a Lotus, you're making fun of him? Like, your car is homemade, man. Mine's made in like a factory.
I don't know which way you're going to send that insult because you both of those cars were homemade. Nothing Lotus was building in the 60s could be considered
at least it was a company,
factory
right?
at that time.
Well, if you didn't hear the first comment that he made, he said it's like bringing a gun to a knife fight, and he's talking about that the Elva. It's just a supercar anyway, and then on this course, and then without some really good.
It's all car, no driver.
But without some serious sports racer competition. Just a fabulous. It's always fun to watch you, Joey, and a great win. Congratulations.
Next year we might go out with the 2-liter guys just to get sucked up in their vortex behind Chris and and Scott Ryan. But these guys, everybody did a great job. It's pretty safe except for the end there. So volunteers, everybody that works in this, can't thank you enough. Everybody coming out. It's a great event, and without all the support, it wouldn't exist.
Let's talk about the Formula cars, and it was Michael Burton in that beautiful car 76, the from Cleveland, the Van Diemen. This is the most recent car in this field, 1982 car, and boy, it's quick.
Yeah, it went pretty good today. A little bit of luck compared to last week at the Historics at Pitt Race, but both events were super fun, and it's for a great cause, so really enjoyed bringing the car out, and all fans for coming out. It's super cool seeing people all over the course, and what a great part this city has, and really awesome for the volunteers and everybody, corner workers, registration, everybody that puts this on, and every dime of it goes to a good cause, so that's really awesome. I'm thrilled to be here.
Terrific. Thanks for a great show. Great race. Michael Burton and Mike Lawrence in the V, third overall, first of the Vs.
Yeah, so fourth place most of the race. Leo got me from the start, but about halfway through I noticed some oil spraying. I've never been happier, but I feel bad for Leo that almost half the track's oiled up from his car. Hope his engine didn't blow, but never smiled so big in my helmet when I saw oil coming up my face. So happy to take home the third, and thank you to all the volunteers out here.
Congratulations, Mike Lawrence. And I will mention that Leo Basile was running up there and had a good weekend last weekend, finally got the car working, and then that's where a lot of that oil has come from. It came out of Leo Basile's motor, and that's a shame. And who else? Oh, Sean Lawrence is here. Do you want to say something there, Sean?
I guess thanks for the invite. I was getting ready to go get my bike and come back down to congratulate my brother, but I guess doing the V podium too is pretty cool. So yeah, I appreciate getting the nod to come over here, and thanks to all the volunteers and people that put this on every year. It's awesome.
Let me just say something that I was mentioning Lauren Light. So she finished first among the women drivers in this race. There were several in a V. And when I went to visit her in her paddock the other day, the Lawrence guys were all building her, putting the motor into the car. And they worked like crazy. And I went down the paddock for a while, and I came back, and there were even more Lawrences working on the car.